Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Mario So, and in today's video, I wanted to see if you can tell the difference between a super expensive Sony G Master 85mm F1.4 lens versus a VILTROX 85mm 1.8 lens. So welcome to another video. My name is Mario So, and I create weekly content on filmmaking, photography, gear review, and editing tutorials. So if that's something you'll be into, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Recently, I got the chance to play around with the new VILTROX 85mm lens. This is the version 2 lens that just came out a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago. So I was able to borrow the G Master lens, which is a really sharp and a really good high quality lens. An 85mm lens gives you really creamy, very smooth bokeh, blurry background for your portraits. It's a great focal length to give you that compressed look and hone in and focus on your subject that you're shooting. So for today's video, I actually wanted to compare this budget-friendly VILTROX lens, not versus the Sony 85mm budget version, but versus the G Master monster of a lens version. There's a lot of videos out there that compares the VILTROX lens versus the Sony 85mm f1.8 lens, which is also a very great lens. But for this video, I wanted to actually compare it to the G Master lens, which is almost triple the price of the VILTROX lens. I wanted to see if you can tell at first glance which one's which. And actually, I must say that I was very impressed with the results of the VILTROX lens, not to take away from the G Master lens, which is, in my opinion, a very sharp lens. But the VILTROX really does stack up. I actually was fooled as well for a few shots, and I had to go onto the metadata of the photos to see which photo was taken with which lens. So first, let's talk about the similarities between these two lenses. They're both 85mm lenses, they are both full frame lenses, and both do not have stabilization. The minimum focusing distance for both is about 80 centimeters, and they both go up to 16 of an f-stop. So before we jump onto the comparisons of the photos and the footage, let's talk about the main differences between these two lenses. So the first major difference is price. The VILTROX comes at about $399, and the G Master lens comes at about $1,700 and something. So the price difference is vast. The VILTROX has a maximum aperture of 1.8 and the G Master 1.4. The G Master lens is weather sealed, the VILTROX isn't, but is dust and weather resistant. The front element on the G Master is a lot bigger at 77mm, whereas the VILTROX front element is 72mm. The Sony G Master is almost twice as heavy compared to the VILTROX lens. The Sony weighs 1.8 pounds or 820 grams, and the VILTROX lens 1.06 pounds or 484 grams. So if you wanted to use the G Master on a gimbal, it might be a little too front heavy for you. It's still doable though, but you just have to play around with that balancing. So in terms of what's on the physical lens itself, the VILTROX is pretty straightforward. It only has a focusing ring. The Sony G Master, on the other hand, has a focus ring, has an aperture ring, which is also declickable. It also has an autofocus and manual focus switch, which makes it very simple to switch back and forth between auto and manual focus. Now let's compare the autofocus on both of these lenses and see if you can tell the difference. Let me know in the comments below how many you get right. Autofocus and tracking was pretty solid on both of these lenses. The Sony G Master, I think, was a little bit faster, but the VILTROX was not very far behind. Next, we're going to be looking at sharpness. So I'm going to show you photos from these two lenses at different apertures at 1.8, at 2.8, and at f4. And you can let me know which one's which. So how many did you get wrong or how many did you get right? Let me know in the comments below. When I was editing these photos, I actually couldn't tell the difference that much either. I had to really pixel peep to compare both photographs. So as we all know, the corner sharpness on the G Master lens is just amazing, but the VILTROX was surprisingly sharp throughout. Third-party lenses are usually quite soft when they're wide open, especially in the corners. On the VILTROX, it wasn't that bad actually. The VILTROX photos were quite sharp in the center at 1.8, and this overall sharpness in the center and in the corners starts to improve as you stop down a little more. Vignetting on the VILTROX photos wasn't particularly strong. I didn't notice much distortion or just any at all from the photos that I took on the VILTROX, and fringing was very subtle if I zoomed in, but overall there wasn't much chromatic aberration or fringing. All right, now let's talk about bokeh. As you probably know, the G Master 85mm produces amazing bokeh, but again, the VILTROX did pretty well in this area as well. So as you saw from the test footage and the photographs, the VILTROX 85mm lens is actually a pretty decent lens. Actually a little bit more than decent. It's a little bit cheaper also than the non-G Master version of the Sony 85mm. It is very sharp, in my opinion. It has excellent bokeh and image quality. The finish on the lens is actually quite nice as well. It has a matte black finish and it looks quite elegant. So seeing how capable the VILTROX lens is, why would anyone get the G Master lens, which is about 4 times the price of this VILTROX lens? For one, it's a premium lens. Every single time you use it, you're going to get consistent quality results. The declickable aperture is really good to have, especially if you're shooting video. The bokeh on the G Master is also very, very smooth. You will get consistent bokeh all the time. But overall, you get really great results with both of these lenses, so if budget is really an issue, the VILTROX will be a great alternative. And when the general population looks at your photos or your videos, they're not gonna be like, hey, that was shot with a G Master, or that was shot with a third-party cheap lens. Honestly, they're not really going to notice. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. It will be greatly appreciated. And that is all, guys. Until next time.